at real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJ T. I really honestly thought that this would never happen between Trump and Musk. Releasing all of the Epstein information. I don't care who it hurts. But literally don't care who it hurts. This is the biggest thing we're disappointed in. This is almost like a divorce here, dude. Like they're slinging mud. So there's just a lot of hate. And now, this is not a good thing. It doesn't end well unless it ends. You can't just report the fucking obvious.
I don't care what a critic got to say, I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life. I'm about to come
just a motherfucking jump. Just go. Let's fucking go. This is the Outlaw Apostle Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Neff. I'm the fucking guy. The other fucking guy in the room is Chase. Chase, what's going on, brother?
Not much, man.
Yeah.
Dream over here.
It looks like it, man. You're wearing some new clothes, man. You got
taking
like
care of myself a little bit.
A little bit of style going on over there. Someday soon, we're gonna be showing some people.
Oh yeah.
That's what we'll do, dude. This is crazy. You and I've been talking about this for a minute about potentially just going live, and most importantly, about going live. At least for me. Is just because I like talking about current events and just trying to, because the way things are going right now with the Trump administration, we might say something one day and then
it'd be completely
3 days later, it could be like completely different, not important anymore or whatever. And it's great. So pull up Fox News. Musk unleashes wild Epstein claim. Oh my God, dude, we just have to get right into this shit. Like, this is insane. So for those, people, by the time they listen to this, they'll know that apparently I really honestly thought that this would never happen between Trump and Musk. And I don't care if the Democrats love it, now that they're fighting. To me, it's what the whole process is about when you're talking about budgets and things like that and politics. I honestly thought he was leaving Doge because of the rules associated with having somebody play the role that Musk played, that they're only allowed to do that for about like 4 months out of any calendar year. So I thought that was legitimately while he was leaving. But now, this headline says, being booted from Doge. I didn't know he was booted. I just thought his time in that role and as much of that time as he was spending was done. But I figured he would still give counsel to the president.
Gotcha.
Outside. That's just, who wouldn't think that, right? That's what but he has come out very, very strongly against this bill, the big, beautiful bill that passed the House. And as I've stated in earlier episodes, I personally, I don't know how many Trump people or supporters but I could probably say you don't know anybody that's more of a MAGA supporter or conservative than me. I'm probably the biggest one in your life.
Correct.
Right? Okay. That's fair enough. But as much as I am a MAGA supporter, and to me, I was MAGA before Trump ever appeared on the scene, I'm my own person. I'm not a member of a cult. I don't need other people to think for me. I think for myself. And wasn't afraid to say that, I was disappointed in the bill. I wanted real cuts, legitimate cuts. I guess they would call it a cut, but I thought it was prudent, as some people have proposed, to what if a first step for this first Trump budget, what if we just went back to pre-COVID levels? Just go back to pre-COVID levels of spending. And I thought that would be a great starting place because that would knock a good amount of money, probably easily over $1 trillion or $2 trillion, a lot of money
Okay.
off of the budget.
Mhm.
Just going back to what it was, because COVID's over. So we increased certain things. We spent money on certain things. Well, do we really have to continue that spending level? But that's just once the government raises the money or once they start a new program, even if it doesn't work, you can't get that shit stopped. That's just the way it's always been. And it's super, super frustrating. So I thought that would be a good thing. And, Musk, like I said, very much against this bill and has spoken out strongly against it. And now it's been completely, you have this, there's another one. Musk unleashes wild Epstein claim. That's the one you want to look up. But they're going back and forth on X and Truth Social now, throwing, bombs at each other, word bombs at each other. And it's gotten pretty ugly. Yeah. Still not getting it. If you just went to like the current page, like this story just came up in the last 15 minutes. Yeah, there you go. Elon Musk fires back at Trump explosive claim. There you go. That's the one I have in front of me here.
Do you want to play the video?
No,
No.
not like I really don't care about that at the moment. But this is just like, this takes this fight now, which, like I said, I thought they disagreed. So what? No big deal. For me personally, it's not going to change how I feel about either guy. I've gained a lot more respect about Musk over the last year, but that's because I know more about him now, and that's not going away. And I don't know, how he would know this or not, but and I don't even know if it's true. We don't know that it's true.
We know it's true. We know that Donald Trump's name is on that list.
But that's been released before.
Exactly.
But he was always on, it was a minimal number of times that he was on the plane.
Yeah.
He wasn't on there they didn't have girls on there. There were other people like in Trump associates and people like with him.
Yeah.
It was a plane ride. There was no evidence that he was on the island or anything like that.
Yeah, but I mean, you would have to assume so, right? Like, I mean, you don't.
No, you wouldn't assume so.
I don't know. Fair? No, that's fair. That's fair.
Because that's just like, I don't think it's fair to say that everybody that boarded that plane was a pedophile.
But you're doing business with a pedophile,
Yeah, but
knowingly.
Knowingly, not at the time.
I don't know.
Because when Trump did know, I mean, about like him, Trump preventing him from, I believe, was getting into Mar-a-Lago or something. It was a big deal. Like Trump shut that shit down. Like early on, he was one of the people's like when that stuff first came out in the early 2000s, the first time it came out and stuff that he's like, yeah, we're not having that.
Okay.
So there's other evidence out there, like I said, but just being on, and again, those plane logs were not for trips to that island, and there were logs to that island. So why would he be on one and not the other? You know what I mean? You would be on whatever one you were on if that's what they were, keeping. And that was kind of Epstein's MO, is blackmail. He would blackmail people. So, I mean, he would have blackmailed Trump.
But they were more friends than anything, though, right? So I don't.
They
know
were in some pictures together again early on before that happened. That they were, I
remember reading something about them being like pretty like decent.
No.
Like Trump saying that they were pretty
He's
close.
just saying like
with
it was just like, hey, he's another billionaire and knows it. Yeah, I know him, and being at a same party together, and there's hundreds and hundreds of people that were at those parties that Epstein was at, you know, and I'm talking about the kind of parties that rich people go to all dressed up to slap each other on the back for donating money. Say, look at how great we are for giving money, right? That kind of, that was those pictures. And, you know, you know, I would, I don't, you know, President Clinton was on that list, but I don't know that he was on I don't remember if he was on the list to the island. I don't think so. So he was, again, you know, someone that you might want to, or if you don't like him, you might want to believe that, yeah, Clinton was a pedophile too. I don't really think so. I think he liked young girls. We know he liked a young intern, but, you know, I've got several friends that are not pedophiles, but do like women in their 20s and that are older, and they've always liked women that were younger. Okay. That's, you know, that's a thing, I guess. I liked older women, even when I was young, dude. I liked older women.
I'm big on older women too.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
No, but yeah, no, it's like when you get into like psychology and stuff like that, that's a tricky kind of
dude
thing. But again, that also goes back to,
I don't mean to diverge here, but now that you opened the door, right, I gotta ask. You know I'm gonna ask, right? What's the oldest woman you've ever been with?
I think I was at this time. This might have been like a few years ago. She was probably like 31-ish, and I was like maybe 21.
Yeah,
21,
good for
22,
you. Yeah, fuck
take.
yeah, yeah.
But it's a lot easier in Mexico. That's the thing I want to say, because in Mexico it's like,
easier,
in my opinion, just because you find yourself, or at least where I'm from in Mexico, you find yourself out more with older women, I guess. Here,
okay.
I feel like, actually no, that is because there's actually a lot of older women out here when you go out. So that'd be interesting to think about. But
a young man I've been talking to at the gym pretty regular, he told me that he's kind of been hit on by some moms at the gym. I'm like, dude, if I was your age, like, and he's a good looking kid and something like that, I'd be doing that. I mean, I just would. I'm just being totally transparent and honest. And I remember my first, she had to be in her mid to late 30s, probably. And I was 20. Yeah. And it was in Columbus. I was at a big thing for Schottenstein's stores, which was the Value Cities.
Okay.
And it was a office managers meeting, and I was going to be in the assistant manager training program, and for whatever reason, they had me go to that meeting. And so what was even really cool, though, is at that time, one of the big women's stores back then, I wish I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it was a really big women's store. And they had all their top salespeople across the country, like top 20, 25 there.
Okay.
So there was a club inside the hotel, right? Playing, and it's all women. This is all women group there. And I did my move like I would do at a wedding, where I would go find grandma and dance with grandma.
Okay.
Dude, they love that. It's so cool a move to do that. And but I picked like the oldest one in the group to like dance with. It's like the grandma. And but these were all hot chicks from all of her whatever age. They all look good for their age and stuff. Yeah. I literally danced with every chick that like out of that whole group throughout the night, and then hooked up with one of the office. I think the office manager I went with. I think she wasn't happy that I did that, but I don't know. I was young. I was drinking then again.
Fun,
I was just having fun. That's before, right before everything collapsed, like the second time in my life over drinking. But yeah, I was definitely drinking. Yeah. But anyways, so I like older women. But back to this. This shit just cracks me up, we just totally go off. But that's probably as interesting or more than I don't know. They're going at back and forth at each other. But yeah, we do know that Trump was on that flight log.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have anything else, any other evidence, whether it be him or whether it be, President Clinton. And so people can think of the one.
I would assume that would change if it were to. I know we're playing hypotheticals now, but
go ahead.
If it were to be true that Trump was on that list, like what would your view change a lot, or
If they had evidence that Trump was
involved in that stuff,
was truly involved in that. Like they've named, why would you name Prince? Is it Prince Andrew? Is he the one that was?
There's a lot. Yeah, one of the UK's.
The Prince. And
I mean, because I remember when there's like the original like this is like the list of the logs of the plane logs or whatever came out. People were shocked with even the people just on the plane in general, because obviously we don't know whether or not, but people just assume that if they were on that plane, they're on that list, right? So
but why wouldn't it matter where the plane was going?
No, for sure.
It
was just
as far as I understand it, he just got on the plane from New York and went to Florida. They both were in Florida.
It was just because
they didn't go to Epstein Island.
I'm not saying they did. I'm just saying when the list first came out, just being involved with Epstein.
Nobody would like to be connected.
Exactly.
Nobody would like to be
exactly,
connected.
exactly.
But I think it's I don't know if Bill Gates ever went. He was on the list.
I can see Bill Gates going there.
Yeah, but I don't
like a
I don't
shitty
know off the top of my head
no one knows.
if the log shows. I'd have to research that, and I didn't. If any of the logs show flights to the island.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah.
And if he was on that. Now, I do know enough about this that I know, like, he seemed to be really close to Epstein and even admitted as such. And, like, his wife wasn't happy about it. And there was, like, 20 sometimes it was revealed, or it was a lot, right? Not just a small handful of trips, back and forth. And so what I'm saying is, if you had, I think, more than one woman that came forward and either said she was with the prince or, saw the prince with, another young girl, somewhere, hotel, Epstein Island, somewhere. I mean, there was pretty much no denying that, like, he was one.
Yeah.
Like, no denying it. So, yeah, if there was evidence like that about Trump, I'd be totally done. Of course, that's a deal breaker for me. I know they say that, Trump could kill somebody in the street and we wouldn't care. No, that's not true.
Yeah.
That's not true.
People would care, yeah.
People would care. And we would care about this because this is something that a lot of us, really absolutely do care about. And I don't care. I think you should be held accountable no matter what your party affiliation is. That doesn't matter to me, and it doesn't matter to me who it would be. And I don't care releasing all of the Epstein information. I don't care who it hurts.
But
literally don't care who it hurts.
But I don't know. Again, more hypotheticals. But don't you think that's why maybe the Epstein files haven't been released?
Well, there is some speculation that one of the reasons is that maybe, the CIA or other people are using it like Epstein did.
As blackmail. That makes sense.
And so if you release all that information or go after those people, you can't.
Lose all the blackmail. Yeah.
Because, look, the honest truth is our government,
the bodies of government,
investigative
CIA,
authorities or
yep,
whatever,
yep.
they make deals with people. They make deals with people who have done bad things, even killed people, and let them run free, and that's not speculation.
That's
like
true,
it's just the fucking truth.
Yep.
That just it's happened over and over again. That's been the case. So they will, do that, make deals. You know, there. I'm sure there's deals with certain, both our country and Mexico with cartel leaders.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But give us information that we want on these other things, and we're gonna let you like
So with-
slide on your
so with
operations.
knowing that, will the list ever come out? Will the
Dude,
true
here's the
list
thing.
ever come out?
Not just we don't want personally,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna talk from my personal view. I don't just want the information to come out, a list. I want all of the information to be made available. Most of those people at this point, really, you know, people that were 14 or 15-year-old girls,
Mhm.
okay, they're in their 30s now, okay? And I don't think they would receive any backlash if their names were made public, and we don't make names of other, you know.
That's hard to say because like
Okay, but I want minimal redaction. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I agree with you.
I
agree with
I
that.
don't care about like just blacking out a name over and over, and that can be awful hard with as much as it says there is. But my God, you know, and maybe give some of them an opportunity to say, "Hey, you don't have to redact my name," to make the work even easier. I don't know. Okay. But they're probably going to have to come out if they're on a videotape and they're like, you know what I really want?
What's up?
I just don't want the information out. I want to know that information is out and is then being used to prosecute those people, to make cases on those people.
That was my next question. Is do you think
That's
that
what
they
I
would
want.
actually use it to prosecute people, or is it?
Well,
Gonna
how
be like
can you not? You can't release it and then not. There would be such outcry,
So I feel
and
like-
I would like,
I feel like that's the reason why that we will never see that list, unless
Dude, we
people
may-
until people start dying and that legal
we
process
may
becomes
not.
less.
Okay, but let's point this out.
Okay.
Okay. Biden had an opportunity to do this too,
Okay.
right? He had an opportunity to list this same information and put it out there. He had an opportunity for his Justice Department to go after these same people.
Mhm.
This is not just new. This didn't just land on Trump's desk.
Yeah.
We just thought Trump would be the first one because of things that he said would be the one to release the information.
Mhm.
That's it. You know, our first real opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't do it, you know, I'd want the next person to do it. This isn't going away easily.
Yeah.
Because this has been hanging around for a while. You're listening to the Outlaw Apostle Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Neff. I'm the fucking guy who needs you to hit that subscribe button, who needs you to hit that like button, share button, hit them all. We appreciate you. Love you. God bless. Have a great week. And again, anecdotal, obviously evidence, but as I view things on X
Mhm.
and things, I would say the number one thing that most conservatives want and haven't gotten
Mhm.
is this. They want this. This is the biggest thing we're disappointed in. We want this,
Okay.
you know. I don't even think we haven't even gotten the MLK stuff either. We got
I
some
saw
of the JFK, but
yeah.
we never got the Martin Luther King stuff. That was, and we were told we were going to get both of those at the same time, right?
Yeah, that's what they said. It says potentially before 2027. The early release.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. The president of the United States can release anything he wants, anytime he wants.
Is that true?
Yes.
So then why wouldn't Trump release those files then?
He
What
can
is
tell
your- what is
people.
your
He can
speculation?
tell people to do it. Because again, this goes to the whole thing of, you know, when Trump had those documents, right? Those classified documents that they found in his Mar-a-Lago address
Gotcha.
and stuff. Okay. Here's the difference. Biden also had classified documents The classified documents that Biden had, he obtained those when he was vice president.
Okay.
And he never said, well, I shouldn't have took him when I was vice president, but once I was president, I declassified him. He never said that. So these were not declassified documents that he had.
Gotcha.
But as a president is the only one. There's no rule. He doesn't have to get approval from anybody else. There's no other department head. Now, they usually do go through a process, but I'm saying they don't have to. The president can declassify literally anything he wants and make it public. So that's why he wasn't, guilty of that, classified the documents. He don't even have to tell anybody. Dude, I didn't write the law. You know what I mean? Is it a vague kind of law like that? Yeah. But the one true thing is he was allowed to do it. Now, Hillary Clinton also had classified documents. Remember, she had it on computer and emails and stuff, right? Oh, yeah. And then she did the bleach bit and all that. Okay. Put all that aside. She was the Secretary of State, okay? She was not allowed to declassify
documents,
like just on a whim like that or anything, and just say, "Oh, I'm going to decide." Like, she wasn't allowed to do it. The only one allowed to do that is the president. So yeah, that's why I want the president to just go, to just do it. Now he physically can't just go. What's he going to do? If he tells somebody to do it and they don't, is he gonna, or should he just physically go over and all the cameras follow him and demand that they pull up the file? I don't know.
I mean, he hasn't been shy from the camera, so I mean, I don't see why not.
Dude, and I'm not against that.
Especially because I don't know if I'm just like braining, but has he mentioned I want this list to be out? Or was it
wasn't talked about as a list, as the files.
The files, but he said we will get these files
because
out.
We do have some files that were released. It's just not
the files we want.
There's more, and then they keep even finding more. Or like the FBI says, "Oh, well, we had this box, in the corner. We didn't even know."
We didn't look into it. Yeah.
Come on, man.
So a majority of it is just holding for blackmail.
And then I don't know. And then you don't even know, even if we got it all, you don't know if you got it all. You don't.
Especially because of how much time
it's you know what people learned? You wouldn't really know, but I'll tell you. So what people learned about water during the time of Watergate, and Clinton was a part of that. Yeah. Okay. She was part of the prosecutorial team at that time. And she learned this. Destroy the evidence. That's what she learned to do. Destroy the evidence. Now, she should have been charged for destroying the evidence. There is no good reason. Now, the reason they said, well, we don't want to charge Biden isn't because he didn't do it. We don't want to charge him because he's old and feeble, and we don't think that'll play well in court. She wasn't old and feeble at the time. She should have been charged by the FBI. And Comey, who's a piece of shit, basically said so. Yeah, she did do it, at least, but, we're not going to.
Solid reason.
I mean, because you can't think about it. There's no good reason to not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What else do they want? Yeah.
But let's get into what he just said, because this is going to be the rest of tonight's news, social media. Well, by the time people are listening to me, what I'm saying won't mean shit. It'll be the other funny stuff I said.
You actually be surprised how long things will stay in for circulation. Yeah. You'd be surprised.
Maybe. So he says on X, @real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJ T.
So why would he even say this, though?
Why? Because Trump is fired back at him. Trump.
So because getting him rid off of the Doge thing?
Trump has said more. Because Elon keeps attacking the big, beautiful bill, Trump has said that maybe, you know, the way for the government to save billions of dollars is not to support or give subsidies and contracts to Elon Musk. And that's, you know, I think they're both. I've been involved in this stuff as far as friendships or relationships with somebody that just
not doing
turn out like
I get where you're
not
saying.
good, almost like a divorce. This is almost like a divorce here, dude. Like they're slinging mud.
Huh.
And like I said, I agree with Musk on the issue of not, you know, of making cuts. I'm for making cuts. But this is just, it's huge.
So are you more behind Trump or Elon right now then? In this situation that's going on right now.
Well, that's where I'm going to compartmentalize. Okay. Like it's not going to change anything how I feel about Trump, what Musk says.
Yeah, but the situation itself.
Or it would be like I've been in a situation too where I've had it happen between two friends.
Yeah.
And both were friends, or, you know, us three were friends. And so I'm like, that issue's between you two. Don't make that me, or don't come to me and act like, you know, I shouldn't be friends with this person or that,
because of blah blah blah,
yeah,
whatever issue you guys have. Yeah.
Yeah, that you guys have.
But
yeah, that's
so
not cool.
Who do you think is in the right now? Because you know the big beautiful bill a lot better than I do. Like,
I don't like it.
You don't like it, so
No,
you're
I
more
didn't like it.
behind Elon. Then.
Well, I'm not. I like some things in it.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a number of great things in it. It's not gonna like cut a bunch of people from healthcare like it says. That's just shit's just not even true.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a number. I am for somebody who is single, able-bodied, and mostly men, okay, to have to work 20 hours a week to get the benefits. Like I said, we should have the cleanest motherfucking roads or the roadsides of any country in the fucking planet, okay?
Yeah.
That you do that, or you donate time, because if for that 20 hours, you don't have to get a job. You can donate that time. So donate that time to a church or an organization. Go feed the fucking homeless. I don't care. But eventually, you getting out and doing something, you're going to, I mean, if you did something like that and you went through a rough time and you were depressed, you're going to start feeling pretty good about yourself. Your mindset should change. Serving others, seeing that maybe you don't have it so fucking bad. Maybe you should stop being a fucking pussy. Get your shit together. And like, all right. Or maybe somebody says, hey, you know, I see you doing this work here. What else do you do? Well, I don't really have another job right now. Oh, I just happen to own XYZ company, and I'm, you know, what are your skills? What can you do? They might find a job that way by just getting out and meeting people and just being out, right?
Yeah, but most people in this day and age don't want to work. That's the issue.
Well, if you don't want to work, that's fine. But you don't get it. You don't get a
the
check.
benefits. Yeah.
You don't get the benefits.
Yeah, no,
you don't
100%.
get to choose to be poor, and then other people are going to take care of you.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And even if that means you're going to be homeless,
that's your choice.
guess what? It's a choice. No, I'm all for that. I'm just saying that at some point the light bulb might go on, that somebody who's putting in this 20 hours a week work might say, volunteering and not getting paid, you know, like, well, fuck this. I want to get paid.
That extra bit of motivation.
Yeah. And then they can get their benefits and don't cut them off. Because what happens is that there's a point where like working doesn't pay, that if they work and they don't get that the benefits are more than the pay. Okay. So they're like, why should I work when I get more this way? So you have to do it like gradually, you know what I mean? Where you get you get a little bit of these benefits, or probably the biggest one is healthcare. So maybe they don't get a check anymore,
They just
but
get
if
healthcare.
they're at a minimum wage job,
Mhm.
okay, that we help them out, whether it's through the Obamacare or whether it's
whatever
Medicaid, whatever it's
program it is.
whatever they qualify for, or
Yeah.
whatever, to kind of make that up. You have to do that, but there's got to be an incentive where now they're going to say, okay, I'd rather get paid for that 20 hours than
Instead of getting the benefits of
instead of just donating my time.
Gotcha.
But you have to take away some stuff that nobody is owed. It just comes back to, you're not owed. Nobody owes you. I just saw a video. I couldn't believe it, dude. I was trying to find where I could save it and send it to you, and I don't know. I was rushed, and I couldn't. Anyways, there's actually a woman in her mid-20s it was on TikTok that said there should be no rent, that in today's day and age, there should be no rent. She actually said that, dude.
I mean,
That we have a
love
surplus of
that'd be
housing,
great.
and the government could fix that, and does she understand there's different levels of motherfucking housing? How do you give away housing, and who deserves what level of housing? Because I'll take housing too.
I'll take
I'll
a free
do that.
house. Hell yeah.
But I don't want any house, dude. I want 5,000 square feet, motherfucker. I want 4 garages. In any type of housing, you got to earn it. This whole mentality. But that is just straight communism, dude. Thinking like that. That's this young people that.
But does communism not? I know, like, to the full extent, it doesn't work. But if you're able to apply some of the kind of like, you don't think there's anything of communism that could apply?
That's what every other type of socialism is that has been tried and hasn't worked.
Fair. That's fair.
And then you got to realize too, in some cases, okay, when they'll often talk about countries like Sweden or something like that.
Norway,
okay?
the Norwegian.
All right, yeah, those 2 countries. All right, they'll try to use them as an example. Do those countries even have more people than Vermont?
That's actually a great question. I don't know.
You see what I'm
That's a
saying?
great question.
Okay, they're very small.
They can manage.
They somehow are able to do it. Maybe it's because of the resources and stuff, or they're able to do things in Saudi Arabia that other countries can't do. Why? Because they
billions and billions of dollars.
Oil, yeah. And it used to be, I still think they do, like if you live in Alaska, if you're an Alaskan resident,
Yeah.
like it used to be more, but they get a share in the oil proceeds there. Just Alaska.
But I believe you have to live there for X amount of months of the year or something like that.
But think about it though. If it was so great, why wouldn't everybody be moving to Alaska? Because it's motherfucking Alaska. I mean, the number of people is few. Most people don't want to do that. But I'm just saying, I couldn't even believe the video. It's just the things people are saying are just going off the charts. Now the big thing is that they're screaming about on X is masked ICE agents. Why are they masked? They need to remove the mask. The Gestapo and Okay, well, the protesters, a lot of them are masked. And the reason the agents are masked is because of the technology that we have now, and that you motherfuckers will use video of the ICE agents to then dox them and go after their homes and families.
Yeah, there's a big reason that in Mexico why every police force has masks on. Like if you ever go to Mexico, every single person in the military
but you know
has
what?
a mask.
But so if you were like participating on the social platforms or something, that would be a great thing to point out. Say, I've spent, half my life there. This is my experience. This is very common in Mexico.
Especially if you want to protect your family.
Dude, that's what Americans don't realize the extent because
the amount of freedom
well,
we've been
how
given.
many Americans have been, put this in, I want to know from Grok. Go to Grok or ChatGPT. Here's my question. I want to know what percentage of Americans have traveled to foreign countries at least once in their life. Just what percentage? Because I've been to Europe And I remember when we first went to Europe, we went to Rome. That's where we landed, was in Rome. Oh, yeah, okay.
That's a pretty big number.
Yeah, it is.
But
I'm going to say,
and really really getting
true,
a grasp of the country.
but I'm just wondering, but it tells you a lot just pulling into the airports. But if you look at that stop, don't go up any higher. At the top there, where casual travelers have traveled between 1 and 4 countries. So and that's 50%. So that's half. I think that's more the number I'm looking for than the 76% number, because I think my parents never went anywhere in the fucking world. My parents never got on an airplane.
Gotcha.
My dad got on an airplane as a young man for when he was in the service. Mm-hmm. That's it. Neither of them never got on an airplane again, ever. They drove. Yeah. Wherever we went, we drove. That was it. I don't ever remember them being on a train. If they took a bus, it was probably to a casino. But I do know my mom won like 10 grand
at a casino?
At a casino in Canada. So they crossed in Detroit, which is an hour away. Okay. And crossed the bridge.
Yeah.
So my parents were out of the country. They went to Canada. So but see, I'd want to exclude Canada specifically.
Okay.
You know, and that'll change the numbers. I think Mexico's okay to include, because that proves that is the example that I want. That, you know, just whether you cross the border in your car or you fly into the country, if you fly into the country, there will be military at the motherfucking airport.
I've never been to the airport, but I would assume
right. But at every port of entry, they're there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, now Trump has sent people down to, you know, our military down at the border, but I don't see them at the ports of entry. Okay, I don't see our military then. No, it's just the border agents. But when I cross into Mexico, I see both. I get greeted by their border agents, and then I get greeted by their military. And both of them might do 2 completely different checks.
Correct. On
my vehicle. 2 totally separate things.
It's a little annoying sometimes.
It may be, but I'm just saying that Americans don't understand, at least half of America doesn't understand how other countries use their military. Yeah, when I flew into Rome, there's Italian fucking military in the motherfucking airport.
I think people are so used to seeing police that they assume that, that's all. No, police and military are 2 completely different things.
I'm pretty sure Jamaica, when I've gone to these other countries like that. I'm
pretty sure America's probably one of the only people that doesn't use their military around
yes,
the
that
country
is exactly my motherfucking point. But no, the public, they can demand it all they want, but they're making a silly point. You do not have a right to dox people doing their job. Like, according to the left, I guess they think these ICE employees, ICE agents, should just quit. They got families to feed, dude. They're doing a job. Okay, they're given a list every day. Okay, we're going to go here. We're searching for these people. And in the process of searching for these people, and they were upfront about this, our target is our people who have also committed other crimes. But in the process of that, especially if you don't help us with those people in these sanctuary cities, we're going to come after them. And if we get 5 of them, but there's also another 5 that are here illegally, but they haven't committed other crimes, we're going to take them too.
Gotcha.
They're not a part of the original target, but if in the process of the order of the group that they're targeting around, and they check other people too, and they're there, they're going to take them. That was very upfront about that. That's not like new, like that was part of why you maybe did or didn't vote for Trump. You know, this for a lot of people. I mean, the border was in the top 3 for a good number of people, especially conservatives. the people that voted for Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just not new. But like this idea of they're attacking the agents.
The funny part too is like one of the main reasons they probably even have that is because they're dealing with borders, so they probably see a lot of cartel things. Like that's probably the main reason why you're covering your face, because you don't want the cartel. Like it's one thing for like random pedestrians to walk by, take a picture of you, and then put you on social media. But if you're working with the border patrol and you're working that close to Mexico and in states where you're so close to like high cartel, that's
I would agree with you that they would like that information.
Yeah, so like that's I don't know. For me, like the people bystanders is one thing. It's whatever. I get that social media nowadays can get really annoying. But I'd be more concerned about the cartel figuring out who I am.
Right, but I'm very, very upset that these people think it's okay
to just go around and
to be violent, and this isn't like an organized protest. This is like they're going out physically trying to stop ICE agents from doing their job.
Their jobs, yeah.
And if you do that, there should be no fucking around. You should get arrested and charged. And when enough of them do that and because how many of those pussies could really do 30 days? Just in a typical jail.
The person going up,
the protester.
The protester?
Yeah.
Probably not very long.
No. And they don't think they're going to. They think they may or may not get charged, but then ultimately it's just going to get dismissed. They're just going to, the prosecutor's not going to do anything with it. Because that's what's been happening, dude.
Gotcha.
So there's got to be consequences. If there's no consequences, why wouldn't they do it? Of course they would. Of course. And they keep doing it. You got to make it so they think twice. And, I think most of those pussies would think twice if they actually had to do 30 days.
Fair.
I'm not asking them to do big jail time unless they've really done something.
I mean, depending on the crime, yeah.
Yeah. We're not talking about, but in some cases, what they're doing is assault. Okay, I've been involved in assault cases before, dude. I've been charged. I know how the system works. So, yeah, they should pay. I know exactly how it works. So if I've had to pay, you can pay. That's how that should be. But all right. I just think it's crazy for him to lob that out there. That takes it to a whole new level, Musk doing that. But here's what Trump had said. Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. See, that's not anything we knew before. Like I said, I was under the understanding that he was just supposed to leave because that's the time he was allowed to do that.
Gotcha.
I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars. That's in the big, beautiful bill. Now, I do agree with that. I support Elon Musk and his business. I don't want an electric car. I don't care if other people want electric cars.
The bill said that we had to buy one. Sorry, maybe I misheard you.
Yeah. Well, no, not that we had to. That there have been mandates set previous to Trump that targets of that the number of cars produced had to be like 30% of all cars had to be electric by 2028.
Gotcha.
75% by 2029 or whatever, but mandating that car manufacturers, making it harder for manufacturers to make anything but electric cars.
Yeah.
That's the road we were going down.
And he took that out. Trump took that out.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
That he knew for months I was going to do, and he just went crazy.
So Elon was upset at Trump because he took
That's what he's saying.
That's what he's saying. Yes.
Well, I think Musk is legitimately upset that, the reason he supported Trump, and he's been digging up old Trump posts where Trump talked about balancing the budget.
Okay. And now he's...
And if you don't balance the budget, you suck, kind of stuff. Yeah. Okay. There you go. But again, I'm for balancing the budget. But neither side has done it. I'm still happier with this side than the other side. So like to think, we're all going to abandon Trump now. That's not going to happen. I told you there's basically one thing that could do that. If there was evidence that he was with a 14-year-old girl, that would end it. That would end it. Period. Because then there's nothing else that would matter. There's no good that you can do to overcome that. That just finishes you.
And Vance would be...
Yeah, that's the funny thing too. Like, do you guys really want to do that? Because I like Vance. But like these people, you think you're going to get what?
I think honestly,
there's no do-over. There's no new election. You don't get to go back and say, well, if Trump is gone, you get to put Kamala in. No, it goes to the vice president.
No, I mean, that's interesting to think about, right? Because I feel like there would be more Vance supporters than Trump supporters.
I don't know about that.
You don't know? You don't think so?
Mm-mm.
Really? Because I know they have like similar, like obviously similar views and stuff like that. But I feel like the charisma or the person that Vance is, I feel like the general public would like more than Trump. Because Trump already has that everyone hates the Trump and the orange hair and stuff like that. Where
here's the thing,
Vance is more of a traditional politician.
He is, but here's the thing. If you go back, and this, again, it's more of a matter of age, just things you just wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, they attacked previous people that have run for office and said some pretty awful things about them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just been the MO pretty much.
That's part of the politics. Oh, yeah.
Well, I'd say the last 25 years has gotten way worse
ahead,
than what it was in the 80s and 90s
Yeah,
even.
you get shot back in the 80s. Got to be careful what you say to who.
Yeah. So it's definitely gotten
much
worse. They're gonna whoever is in office,
they're gonna be talking shit no matter who it
is. He's gonna be Hitler.
Gotcha. And you truly believe that? I honestly think it's a Trump thing, not a.
Mm-mm.
You think anyone that takes office in
if they're a Republican,
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would be close.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying they're not more just more heightened in their hate for Trump. And I think part of that has to do with, first of all, they never thought he would win in the first place.
Exactly.
Okay. And then to have him win, and then, oh my God, we don't care that Biden sucked, but anybody but Trump. That's what Biden was. Biden was nothing more than anybody but Trump. Now then they tried to act like, no, we really love him. He's the greatest president. He did all this. No. Nobody's buying that bullshit. It was simply anybody but Trump, right?
Yeah.
And then for Trump to come back after they did everything to try to destroy him with all of those lawsuits and stuff, and then for him to still win, and they can't believe that we would ever vote for somebody with 34 felonies. Because your 34 felonies were a fucking joke and a lie. That's why. But yeah, that's kind of what I think of that. So there's just a lot of hate, and now this is not a good thing, but it is what it is, and we'll survive. But I'm still going to, right now, I'm still going to support Trump. And I'm still going to, I haven't changed my opinion on Musk. I think that was a dumb level for both of them to get to. They needed to take a day and not do anything. They needed to just shut the fuck up for a day. Because all it does is give ammunition to the enemy.
Exactly.
Because if the big beautiful bill fails,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and I just think it's going to be changed dramatically in the Senate.
Gotcha.
And so we don't even know what the final product is going to be.
Yep.
And even if Democrats would help make it fail, vote against it ultimately, okay? That the Senate comes up with something, they vote that down, or whatever. They're not coming up with any answers, man. They don't have a bill ready to go in place of it that this is what we suggest the cuts be. So, I mean, we had the last 4 years, we know what they would do with spending. Musk knows what they would do with spending, which is why both sides spend, but they spend even more.
Yeah.
And even more on the things that,
Useless things, yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
No, I get it.
So it's not like Musk is going to turn to the Democrats.
You never know. Maybe he gets a nice little
because
offer
that's
from
not
the
his.
bank. Yeah, no,
that's just not his. That's just not. He was against that.
But what if he gets a big
what
ego
he's
off of
But
this?
what he's doing is it's not about party to him. He don't give a fuck about the parties.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
He cares about the issue, but Democrats aren't going to do it. So he's not going to support, he's not going to beat the next Republican or be against them, because of Trump, because it's still not going to meet his agenda.
Yeah.
They're not going to fulfill it. He thought this was genuinely that this was his best chance that someone might do what's right for the country. And I think Trump really wants to. Okay. And he's not your typical politician, but he is a politician now. And there is some benefits to him that he doesn't need to get reelected, and he can say and be more forceful, I think, without having to worry about that kind of stuff. But you got to rack up some wins. Trump wants to get a win, wants to say, I did this and this bill, and it helped produce this economy. And, he wants to be remembered in that way. But ultimately, he was our best hope to do this. He's still our best hope to do it. But this is politics. This is the political process. This is totally normal. Democrats make it sound like, oh, Republicans are against it. Yeah, a group of us are. We're against the big, beautiful bill on a specific part of it, that there's not enough reductions, that there's not that this is supposed to add $2.7 trillion in debt. I don't want to add to any of the debt. I want a balanced budget. And if I can't get a balanced budget, I don't want a balanced budget in 5 years. But if I could at least make a big jump, like I said, by just going back 5 years and just saying pre-COVID, going to that budget, that would be substantial enough that I'd compromise and take that. Because we don't always get what we want, and Trump knows that too. That's the political process. Yeah, I'd like a balanced budget, but I know I'm not going to get it. What can I get close to that? What Trump has right in his budget is the things that are pro the economy growing, which gets more revenues, which helps make it so that we don't accumulate as much debt, that we bring in more revenues. He's got that part right. Now, we had that, discussion with Doc Treese, about growing our way out, and I don't believe we can. He didn't say exactly that we could. He wasn't talking about necessarily growing our way out of it. What Doc Treese was talking about was using some of the assets that we have. And to me, this is a president who should be all for that. Selling these assets we have that can generate money for the government and also produce good benefits or energy and things like that we need for the country.
Yeah. He
Right?
also
You
said
see what
that
I'm
we
saying?
also have to get all the corrupt people out of the office. That was the first thing he said.
Yes.
So that's the first step there.
There you go. But,
No, but I agree with that. We definitely have way too many resources we're not utilizing just because we're trying to use up everyone else's so we can. But wasn't that the whole like idea, right? Was use up everyone else's materials, so by the time that no one else has any, we can have basically a monopoly behind it.
Maybe to some extent, I don't know, but like the problem is if we're not producing enough of it, then we're going to be beholden to them in the meantime.
Yep.
And if we don't, we put ourselves in a hole. And maybe we weren't intending to do this right away, but it gets us out of the hole now.
Gotcha.
You know, to use it to pay down the debt.
Gotcha.
And it's amazing when you really listen to people who are supposed to be smart talk about the deficit and the debt, and they get the two confused all the time. They get it confused. Like sometimes they're talking about the deficit and they really mean the debt.
Gotcha.
You know, two totally different things.
Related, but two different things.
Two different things. One is the amount,
is how much we owe, and the other one's the difference.
You make $80,000 a year net after taxes, and you spend $100,000.
There's a
$20,000 deficit.
Yes.
But you already had $40,000 in debt. Now you have an additional 20. Now you have $60,000.
Yeah. Math.
Well, the
Crazy.
first thing you need to do is stop adding to the $40,000.
Yeah.
Don't spend more than what your income is.
Yep.
That's the best way to describe it. But people get those confused when they're showing the words, and I understand it. But like these are supposed to be really fucking smart people.
Yeah, math is hard.
I guess. I just don't think this is good. This is not good. So I didn't mean to do most of the show on this.
No, it's actually honestly perfect because then I can just we'll make this specifically about the whole deficit. Why not? There might be maybe
I got to throw this in.
Yeah.
As of right now,
Mm-hmm.
as I do this podcast, within the last hour, multiple sources have confirmed that Aaron Rodgers has told the Pittsburgh Steelers that he will be a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Nice.
And that he will be at mandatory minicamp, which is, I believe, next week, I'm sorry. And that he will be, I think he's going to Pittsburgh tomorrow. He may actually be going to Pittsburgh tomorrow.
Because who was the young star you guys picked up?
Will Howard from Ohio State.
Okay. So that
National
should be really
championship
good for him then.
That's not a bad thing.
I think
That's not a bad thing for
I don't
him.
think they're having him there because is he going to be the first string?
Who?
Rodgers?
Yeah.
He's your guys' first string?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Dude.
Hey, you never know. Maybe he pulls something out of his ass, like his old school,
I don't
bean
know.
or something. But
Maybe.
all we can do is sit and wait, right?
But you know what? We still need one more thing.
What's that?
Another wide receiver.
You guys.
We got DK Metcalf, and we got rid of Pickens.
Oh, you're right. You guys got
Pickens
rid of
went to the
Pickens.
Cowboys.
You're right.
So we're still so we had Russell in this team. Now we have the same fucking team, and we got Rodgers.
Hell yeah. Let's go Rodgers.
That's
I honestly would love to see Rodgers go because it took so long for him to.
Do you know how weird it is to be a Steeler fan and never in because I've been a Steeler fan all my life.
Yeah.
So 57 years old to ever think from the time that he had been in the league
that he would ever
that he would be a Pittsburgh Steeler because he cost us a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He was one of the ones Ben lost to. That he would someday be a Pittsburgh Steeler. And what I won't have?
What's up?
Is I'm not going to have a Rodgers jersey. Maybe I'll buy a T-shirt. I don't know.
What if he brings you guys to the Super Bowl?
That'll totally change my mind.
You have to have that Aaron
that
Rodgers jersey.
will totally change my mind.
Against the wall.
Totally change my mind.
I hope it
I
happens.
will.
I really do
I will not be ashamed. I will totally buy into that shit. I'm a fan. What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Be like, fuck you all. We got the trophy.
Really hope that
we
happens.
got another ring. Yeah,
he can retire in peace. That'd be amazing. I'd love that.
He is interesting. I will give him that. I had been watching. I got halfway through his most recent interview with Joe Rogan.
He was on Joe Rogan?
Yeah, recently within the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And I saw, was it Netflix?
Mhm.
The documentary that he did?
On Rogers? Like he has his own documentary? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty interesting too.
Okay.
And just something else just stupid as we wrap things up here. Have you watched Mobland?
I don't even know what Bobland is.
Mobland.
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 No, I have not.
Okay, you need to check out Mobland.
I've seen like parts of it, but I haven't actually watched it.
Started from the beginning.
Okay.
There's only one reason to really watch it, and that's Tom Hardy.
Oh, I love Tom Hardy. He's a great actor.
Dude, he is the show.
Okay, hell yeah.
Now, I mean, Helen Mirren is great. Pierce Brosnan looks great for his age. It's hard to believe because I can't think of Pierce Brosnan other than 007.
Oh, God.
You know, and he was, you know, young, tall, black hair, good looking dude. I mean, he had it all, you know. That was, yeah. It's a good show.
Okay.
But Tom Hardy's the reason to watch it.
I love
like
Tom Hardy.
his character is just a bad motherfucker.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I love characters like this. And that just and I love bad guys who are truly good at being bad and that the writers let the character be bad.
Yeah.
Does that make
They're
sense?
not holding back and trying to be like, oh, that's too much or blah, blah,
no.
blah. Yeah, I get you.
Let him like really be the bad
Play
character
the
they
character
are.
he's meant to be. Exactly.
Yes.
I get you.
Like I hate in a movie because there's like where it's usually a comedy movie where there's the crooks and the good guy cops or whatever, and the good guy or the bad guy is holding somebody hostage and they do a 1 minute talk after that.
Gotcha.
And then the cop comes in and saves the day and stuff.
Gotcha.
And that the fact that the bad guy is having this 1 minute speech, the real bad guy
Isn't going to say shit.
should just shoot them.
Exactly, yeah.
Just shoot him.
Yeah.
Shoot him. Done. That's a. Does you understand what
I
I'm
get
saying?
exactly what you're
Okay.
saying, yeah.
That's what this show is.
All right.
There's no holding back in that is. And yeah, it's all about fentanyl.
Okay.
As far as what the
Like
li-
moving
like
what it
this is over in like Europe.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
all accents and stuff.
Gotcha. All right.
He's Pierce Brosnan is basically an Irish mobster over there.
Because I know Tom is British, right? You're English or whatever.
So
Right.
it's a good show. If
Alright.
somebody's looking for a good show, you know, this is it. I think there's, I don't know, 10 episodes.
There's a season 2, it looks like already.
Season 2 ain't out. I don't know when it's going to be.
It is.
Yeah, see, 10 episodes.
Yeah.
And Paramount.
Paramount, yes.
Yeah, Paramount's where you want to get that. All right. So that's the other couple. I had a couple other things that we'll just hit next time. I probably will. They'll probably still be on my plate. Because they're issues that are not going away. So we'll touch on that.
That's for sure.
Yeah. But I don't know. I couldn't not say anything about Trump or Musk. You know what I mean?
No, actually, that was to me. That
But
was
I'm still
actually- that
trying
was
to.
actually really
This
interesting.
is all just landed. This has all just happened where it's escalated here so quickly, you know, in the last week and really went off today.
We'll have you live pretty soon here, so you'll be able to be as up to date as possible here.
Yeah, that'll probably be a good thing. I think more podcasts are looking into that. I'm hearing or seeing more of the podcasts I like are maybe doing more episodes that way, like splitting it and that like they're working their way towards it.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll explain.
I
it to
think
you
that's
on
the
Sunday.
trend, anyways.
I'll explain it to you on Sunday. What basically,
But
the plan
especially
is,
us that want to talk about current events,
Mhm.
you know, and
Yeah.
I do want to talk about current events. Just I think I'm just more of a regular person.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Like I feel
Not
like
really, to be honest with you, I'm not quite sure.
I'm not a regular person.
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Like I'm not a big star trying to or somebody.
Gotcha. You're not already a well-known person on the internet.
Right.
Gotcha.
Just so that somebody listening can feel more like that could be me. That's more like I feel that way about a number of these things. They don't have to agree with everything I say, but that they like the point of view and they can like it's hard to imagine, being a Joe Rogan. You know what I mean?
Really? I honestly, I look, I'm not a big political person, but I think once we can get to the point where we can just interview anyone and everyone, that they don't have to be a billionaire or they don't have to be this and that, just start interviewing everyone and everyone. I think honestly that you would have a lot of fun doing that.
I like that. I'm not saying not like the format. I'm just saying to just
be that big. I think you have the personality to make it to be that big. I honestly do. And that's not me.
I appreciate that because I'm not like trying to put it down or not thinking that I can't be successful. If I didn't think I could be successful doing this, I wouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't focus on that because of how long I know the process can take.
Gotcha. I get you.
But yeah, all right. I don't know.
Like I said, I got some stuff I'm bringing up to you on Sunday. So
okay, but not maybe Joe Rogan wasn't good. More than like the elitists that present their viewpoints. Like the Jake Tappers or no, PBD is like if you know his life story,
it's a little
that's important to know his life story.
Gotcha.
And where he came from. That dude was a wild motherfucker for a little while. He was like he was really into bodybuilding and stuff. I don't know, but the more the elitists that just come off like they're just better than everyone else when they talk about the news or
Gotcha.
the people that are talking about the news.
Gotcha.
Those elitists. I mean, you know how much I like Charlie Kirk too, and how much credit I gave Charlie Kirk for. I give him as much credit for Trump winning as Musk.
Yeah.
Like Charlie did the footwork. Musk provided the money. But Kirk was on the ground going in these little places and going to these schools that they want to know why. They still don't understand why young men voted for Trump. Charlie Kirk had a big role in that. And I don't know, if you don't agree with his views, you'd be an ignorant motherfucker to not at least admit that he's a pretty smart guy when you see him do his debates and stuff no different than a Ben Shapiro. Even if you don't like Ben is quick on his feet and thinking and comes up with and you can't do what they do without being smart and having a great amount of knowledge.
Yeah.
And a woman on X was attacking him over something, and because he quit community college, and also I guess he tried to get in one of the military schools and was rejected.
Okay.
So she was like putting him down. It's like, bitch, you are nobody. You're somebody that got a 4-year degree, and I bet you don't make 6 figures, and you're smart because you got the people that just think that having a degree is better than anybody else.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's better or anybody is any worse, whether they have a degree or not.
Or not, yeah.
No. Because I know that in my life, if you would ask any of the people that did business with me, unless they knew my childhood and stuff or grown up, my in-depth story, all of them, if they had to bet money on whether I went to college or not, everyone would say yes, 100%. It'd be, because that's what I did. I competed with all those in my industry. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, all right, that's it. We'll just wrap it up. This is the Outlaw Apostle Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Neff. I'm the fucking guy.
Whoa! Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah. Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life.